Hello, DigiFashion Forum community. Welcome to the Fashion Technologies series. My name is Ching. I'm the host of the talk today. So we are excited to have Kirti Poonia, co-founder of Relove.in, a circular fashion tech company in India. And we also have a special guest, Shivagini Padia, founder and creative director of a sustainable fashion brand called The Summer House. So today they will share their stories and journeys on circular fashion tech and sustainable fashion. So before I hand over the microphone to Kirti, I would like to give you a brief introduction about her. So over the last 7 years, Kirti built one of India's largest apparel and lifestyle marketplace called Okhai, and scaling it from 350 to 20,000 artisans. That's amazing. And then Relove also helps fashion brands become more sustainable by hosting brands on thrift shops and digital factory outlets. And Kirti just has won the most phenomenal UN award, the top 75 women entrepreneurs transforming India, and the Business World of Women Entrepreneurship Award for her impact. That's amazing. So now welcome Kirti, and then she will just share their stories, and later we'll have fire chat with Shivagini, and now we'll just talk about everything. That's, if you want to ask any question, please feel free to drop your questions, and then we will ask later. Okay, so let's say hi to Kirti and Shivagini. Hello. Thanks for coming. So so now the microphone is yours, Kirti.
Thank you. Super excited to be doing this. We're both, Shivangini and I, are big fans of sustainable fashion and circular economy. And it's only fitting that she joined me today because the Summer House was the first brand to launch their circular program with Relove. Hi, Shivangini. Do you want to say hi to everyone?
I'm very glad to be here and take everyone through our journey of sustainable but also circular fashion thanks to Relove with us. So I'm looking forward to the whole conversation.
Great. So before we get started, I'd like to share a little story. So when I was a little kid, I always wanted to grow up and work in fashion. As time went by, it actually happened. In the last 7 years, I was able to build a fashion brand that works with many, many artisans. It became one of the largest platforms, such platforms where artisans could sell their products online in India. But while I was doing this, I realized that fashion is putting great pressure on the earth's resources. And eventually we are going to run out of these. So was there a more mindful way to consume fashion? Most consumers end up wearing only 20% of their wardrobe 80% of the time, and reuse or resale is not very normalized in India. So I took this gross underutilization to my now tech co-founder Pratik, and he suggested that why don't we create a resell button for a product sold, and that would simply mean Recommence on over a transaction that has just been executed on a website. And just through that idea, we built out a little Word document of sorts that this is what the product or the tech product would look like. And we pitched it to a couple of brands, including the Summer House. And today we are powering 60 brands that have gone circular using the Relove tech. So let me share with you our journey. First, before that, I'd love to talk about circular economy because a lot of us aren't very clear on what really the concept or the term means. So in linear economy, all you do is take, make, use, and throw. So tires that are put in cars are usually thrown away in landfills. but you could reuse them by fixing them. You can recycle them into tires again. You could downcycle them into some other product, or you could upcycle them like that chair you see on the right. So the principle of circular economy is that the resources that we take from the planet, in this case rubber, is reused over and over and again. You will have some level of wastage, but you are optimizing the use of the resources we have on planet Earth. Another example, you can take cotton, you can make, use, throw, or you can upcycle, reuse, or recycle. It is easiest to reuse, a little bit more challenging to upcycle, and very, very difficult to recycle as of now on planet Earth. If you see that, that's a giant pile of used clothes, which is visible from space. And all of this is not just concentrated to a few countries, but it's across the global south that you see a lot of landfills filling up with excess that has been thrown in, which in turn is contributing to climate change. But why is all of this a problem, right? Why can't we actually have these landfills? Because they lead to a lot of emissions that lead to global warming. At the same time, less than 1% of textile across the world is being recycled. So we need to think of a model that can enable reuse. Again, still, why is that a problem? Because when you do any kind of manufacturing, you use water, trees, land, oil, air, and eventually we're going to run out of all of these. So it's absolutely important that we come up with some solutions. Manufacturing has to not be based on these resources that are finite. So reuse. Can reuse solve the overproduction and underutilization problem? Well, at Relove, our mission is to solve the $244 billion leak that is happening in fashion today. Almost $70 billion worth of garments are returned to brands as damaged returns. $74 billion worth are just dead stock, 2 seasons old, lying there in the warehouses. About 100 billion are idle in our customers' closets. So even though we know that it's lucky for consumers and lucky for brands and lucky for planet Earth that resale is a very, very big accepting trend right now, something that is gaining a lot of momentum. So we've built out 3 business models that actually help us build supply. We work with fashion brands. First one is peer-to-peer resale, where we execute this by deploying a resell button between a buyer and a seller on the brand's own website. So you can go to the Summer House website, go to the Relove section, and in their order history, in your order history, you can see a resell button should you have purchased before from the Summer House. The second model is a digital factory outlet. We've all gone to Nike, Puma, and Benetton outlets in India. This is just an online version of it, where in a small window, you can see the small defect on that garment, and you can purchase it by knowing what the defect is at the right price. And then we, of course, also run in-store take-back programs, which brands can use to generate traffic to their stores, and in return give out store credits or discounts so that customers who walk into stores will buy from the brand. Well, in India, we've been able to aggregate all of these listings across websites and create something known as the Relove shop, which also becomes a discovery platform for these brands. So it works hand in hand. Circularity is only possible, or Recommence is only possible if everyone participates. And I am so proud to say that most Indian brands have come together in some form or the other to really make this happen. You can also log into the Relove account and see your purchases from all of these fashion brands. We've automated this entirely, and the entire basis is technology. So we're a very lean team. We do a lot of improvement of images using AI. video verification for each order to ensure authenticity of the product. Logistics is managed by Relove. Packaging is managed by Relove, making sure that this is completely hands-free for the brands. And we also handle customer care and seller payments, which is also completely automated. Immediately after the buyer receives the product, the seller gets their money, which is a really, really feel-good moment for somebody who's trying to do something good for the planet, at the same time make some money. So this is what the tech product looks like. There's a resell button in the customer's order history. So if I bought this product in 2019, maybe I can now sell it for $40 if I'd bought it for $80. If I click on the resell button, it will take me to a page where it'll ask me a few questions. How many times have I worn the garment? What is the condition of the item? And I will enter a few images. If there is a defect or a button missing, I can also upload the image of that. And we've developed a proprietary pricing algorithm that calculates the optimum resale price of that product, which takes into account many, many things, including which brand it is, what size is it, what condition is it. And the buyer gets the choice, or the seller gets the choice of actually now taking in stock credit or cash. So if they take stock credit, it's advantageous for the brand because they're going to come back and buy something new. So the brands usually incentivize people to do that. This is the interface we use for showcasing damaged inventory. You see that little window up there. It can be used to describe where the defect is and what does the defect look like. And the warehouse manager is given a little app through which they can take the image of the defect in the QC process, put in the optimum resale price for it for a defected item, and describe what the defect is. In cases of dead stock, they can list it without uploading the images, simply through an Excel upload, mentioning that this is extremely old stock. Brands are able to add 3 to 5% to their revenue doing this. And so 1 year in, we are able to really see a lot of case studies. Okhai has added 3 to 5%. Summer Somewhere, a Western wear brand in India, has grown really, really fast. 77% of the customers coming to their website through Relove are actually brand new because they're discovering this fashion brand through the Recommmerce tech that they are using. Bunai is seeing 12x return on ad spends in a time where e-commerce companies are seeing only 4 ROAS. Because once a customer takes stock credit, they always come back for more, and usually that tends to be about 12x. Suta, it's a sari brand, one of the largest D2C brands in India. They are seeing that when customers come to the platform and buy pre-loved, 75% of them end up converting to buying firsthand the next time. In terms of consumer demand, what we've seen is that 82% of items, they sell in less than 30 days. Even though this is something very new for India, we're seeing that people are very accepting of thrift, and people across India are able to use the same technology. So I'm seeing urban women with a brand like Summer House use that same interface, and rural women from some of the brands that are using Relove, their customers probably don't even know how to read and write in language, but they're able to list the item for resale. 77% of sell-through, which means 77% of the items that we've ever collected have actually sold. 28 items were the most purchased by a single buyer, and 38 were most items sold by a single seller. So we've had a great first 18 months of business. We also won the L Award for Eco Innovation in Fashion. Like I said, the UN Award. We've been covered by every single publication. And what I'm really proud of is that when a new tech solution comes out in fashion, if it doesn't get support, it cannot win, right? You can create the best technology, but support and adoption is everything. And so I'm so happy for all the organic PR and the organic demand for this technology in the world? Well, I'd like to say that, right now there are enough clothes on the planet to dress the next 6 generations of human race. So solutions like this are the only way we can slow down the impact when we actually do not need to overproduce. Well, that's me, and a little bit about Relove. I'd love to take questions, but I'd also like to mention that we are pretty active on LinkedIn, on Relove, or you can search for me, Kirti Poonia, on LinkedIn. If you're active on Instagram, check us out. I am Relove_in or Raising Relove, Restoring Earth. If you'd like to talk a little bit more about Relove, you can simply write to me at kirti@relove.in.
Amazing. Okay, thank you, Kirti. Wow, this is really phenomenal. Yeah, so basically in the World Economic Forum Global Crisis Reports 2023, they are, like from 2010 to now, there are like loads of crisis happens, and the environmental risk has raised significantly. So there are 3 major crises. One is climate change, and one is biodiversity crisis, and then the third one is circular economy. So with your perspective, maybe Kirti first, what sustainability and circular fashion means in general with your perspective?
So I'm just going to say a few lines because, Shivangini is the person who can really, really answer this. She recently did a post defining each of these terms and what they mean. And I remember seeing that post on Instagram, Shivangini, so maybe you should highlight that. But what I'd say is that sustainable, to me, means that something that will ensure the sustenance of planet Earth for a longer duration of time, right? And so sustainable is more overarching, which should also include people, environment, everything. Circular economy focuses on only material and reuse of materials, right? If you look at eco-friendly fashion, it would mean a lot more. And I think I'll leave that answer to Shivangini.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Kirti. I think everyone currently kind of has an idea of what sustainable means and what circular means. And I think Kirti's explained the difference already. But if you go to the very core of it, what circularity and what sustainability, whether in fashion or any other industry, boils down to kindness. It is making sure that while you are running a business or running your life, you are not doing it at the cost of someone else or something else. It means that you're kind to the environment around you, to the people who are part of the process, like in fashion, from the farmers or the factory workers, all the way to the customers. So you're doing justice to your customers as well when you're giving them a product that hasn't damaged the environment or hasn't, or isn't of bad quality. And so the planet, the people, and the entire process in itself, where you're mindful of everything. So eventually it's about kindness. If we are kind, if we make kindness as a core ingredient or a core, pillar of any business, I think we'll be able to make sustainability and circularity the norm. So for me, that I just get down to this. The definitions of what each term entails and all of it. But eventually it's just about being mindful and being kind towards each other.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because if we come from our hearts and then we believe that we are doing the right thing and then we want to do the things right, then everything will be even better, because every single everyone basically on the earth, right? We are basically the stakeholder of all these, this issue actually. Yeah, good. So talking about the landfill earlier, when Kirti mentioned, basically there's just a news today that the France is launching a bonus scheme to persuade consumers to repair their clothes and worn out shoes rather than throwing them away or buying new ones. And this is a very good initiative, actually. So basically, from October this year, the bonus will come in the form of a discount won worth between $6 to $25 per repair. So basically, we encourage a consumer. Of course, from the production side, we want to mitigate the problem of overproduction or fast fashion. But the other side, we also want to encourage consumers to think more like, if our clothes can be repaired, we don't really need to buy a new one. So the concept is really similar to what like Relove. So when we don't need, when we've been wearing our clothes, but then we think that okay, we would like to share our pre-loved items to others, then we just go to Kirti's Relove and then just to resell it. So these are the same concepts actually, but I would like to know, both of you, what's your take on it? Kirti first, maybe.
I love that their government is taking that initiative to encourage consumers. I wish we had something like that happening in every single country across the world. Repair, whenever I have sat down on a weekend and repaired a lot of my clothes, I have not needed to shop for a good 3 months, because I fixed every single problem because of which I was not wearing a certain thing. So repair for me comes before resale also. I think very clearly, if you love the item and if there's a little hole or a pen mark and you can embroider over it, it's a very therapeutic exercise. Sure enough, resale comes after that and consumers can do that as well. And finally comes recycle, which as of now you feel that it's happening, but it's just, you can feel good by giving it away to a recycler, but it's not happening.
Yeah, sure. And what's your thoughts, Shivanjini?
No, same. It's very exciting. And I think it's important for governments to actually intervene and not just have meetings and all. Again, sorry, there's construction sound in the background. But it's very important for governments to intervene, because true change, especially in countries like India, really happen when there is policy intervention. Without that, it becomes very difficult to convince all brands, all companies to take the correct steps. So government intervention is key, in fact, to making circularity problem on practice.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd just like to add that even policy change, right? If you buy a personal care product, there is so much, like even on the label, there are so many requirements that you need to mention the ingredients in the order of their contents. You need to have this approval, that approval. But in fashion, you have no requirements, no certain kind of rules to be followed. And I think if certain policy change can be done, then it would be supportive for all circularity related solutions to gain traction.
That's true. Actually, imagine if you could get a t-shirt that said, this used so many 1,000 liters of water, so much land was, there was deforestation, this much land for this farm. There was I'm talking on a grander scale, but if you saw the impact, or that the woman just made 40 paise or 1 rupee, you would think twice, because people are, they want to do good, want to be nice, but the gap in fashion is so large. Like from the wearer to the person who's making it and the farmers and everyone involved, that we don't really see what's happening and the damage that the industry does. So what Kirti is saying is correct. If there was policy which ensured that there was labeling of impact and carbon footprint and human impact as well, people would think twice. There was an experiment, in fact, which said $1 t-shirt. They had put up a kiosk. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It said $1 t-shirt. You press it, you put $1. So people used to put $1, and then it would say, "This is the child that made your t-shirt. Do you still want the t-shirt? Do you want the $1 to go to the child?" And people 100% chose to give the dollar to the child, knowing who's made it. So I think if people know what's happening, they are willing to do the right thing. I mean, they want to do the right thing, they just don't know. So the onus is on the government and the companies to make it more transparent for them.
Yes, definitely. Because, at the end of the day, as a country or, a government, or even for the companies, well, we always say that, the economy has to grow, and then, people have to, buy, or, have to wear clothes, or, we still have to, the company has to have revenue or something. So all these, if we don't really do something with it, and then we only think about all this so-called economical growth, then it won't help for anything. And then if we move all this economical impact on making it as an incentive to people, then instead of just us everyone to accept, we can no matter change the awareness of it, or change the behavior. And then when everyone changes their behavior, because think or understand don't necessarily make you change or move, right? So if everyone can just change and move and change their behavior, or to think, okay, today when I click the button, well, actually, with technology or app, it's so easy. Just like the platform, the Relove platform is so easy. You click one button, you can buy things, but you can also sell things. You can also share something, right? So, with all this thinking, we call it design thinking or systematic thinking, then we can just design a system to make it, working better. And then everyone join, and then everyone shares. Then, things will move towards the more positive way. And then I think that's really how to say, exciting, but also challenging, right? And then this is what we all have to work on harder and harder, especially in the fashion industry. So, so talking about fashion value chain, I would like to ask Shivanjini, in fashion field, we always talk about the transparency, right, of the supply chain. And then as a sustainable brand, how do you, define or to this, what kind of consideration to make the decision of, maybe produce the ethical products, or, to make the material more transparent, or anything that's from seed to seam, you want to make it or like sustainable. Could you share more your insights with us, please?
So from what I understand, you asked me to explain the process of what we do and what inspired us to do it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to
yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, to be honest, coming from a non-fashion background really helped. I think when you're coming from with the intent to do business, and you have a little background already, you already know set methods of doing it. But because my team and we did not have any set method of doing it, we did a lot of research before getting into it. And the moment any company does research, you will know how much damage you're going to cause just by starting a fashion brand. Like it's really just that. So we were conscious every step of the way, right from the beginning when we started 8 years ago. And so when you say seed to seam and you talk about transparency, so there is no way currently that we have of measuring impact via an app, which would have been perfect for us, like how we have Relove for circular. So we actually have to, track it manually via Excel sheets and all. But the easiest way for us and for any brand to do it is to be personally involved with, your suppliers, your manufacturers, your fabric vendors, your dyeing processors, all of it. So we are personally involved every step of the way. We are not giving it to some agent and saying, you do this. We're not giving it to a factory and, looking at certifications and saying, you do this. Right from, whether the cotton is certified or the material is certified, whether it's sustainable, how the yarn is dyed, is it, is the does the dyeing unit have wastewater management facilities? What are the salaries paid to the workers? Do they have rights and enjoy liberties in their work environment? Because that is a huge that is a huge factor when it comes to sustainability, and all the way to how it is manufactured plus quality, because you want doing all of that is useless if your tailoring quality is not good and the garment doesn't last long. So every step of the way, being personally involved and being transparent in the way that sharing the journey with the customer. I think you can tell that a brand has its heart in the right place just from the amount of transparency it is willing to put out there in the world, because they're okay with people digging deeper and finding out what they're doing. And that also makes sure that you do the right thing all the time. You don't take shortcuts, because it's tempting, right? Sometimes you just want to take the shortcuts to, as you were saying, everything's of the financial results and the economy and all of it. So it does, like, being transparent also helps you always, do the right thing. So we've ensured that right from the beginning, all the way to how it is even packaged and how it is sent out. And now with Relove, also we are a zero waste company, so even our production scraps are then made into new paper and new fabric. And now with Relove, we are fully circular. I mean, not fully, but we are trying to be fully circular with the technology. And I had a thought when you were talking about how companies are thinking of just the financial results. But even if you're just thinking of the financial results, having something like Relove makes so much sense. Even for a brand like ours, for example, which is much smaller compared to a lot of brands that Relove caters to, more than 50% of our customers opt for credit, which means that they come back and use that money again in the summer house. They're not taking the money out, when they sell a product. There are lots of customers. In fact, 70% of the customers are new customers who come via Relove, and then they convert to, the summer house customers. So even if you're not thinking about the environment, and if you're not thinking about doing the right thing in that sense, if you're just as a good business concept, being circular via an app like this just makes perfect sense, because the world is increasingly open to buying secondhand and reuse products. So it only makes sense for brands to be available where the customer wants to be, or rather wants to shop from.
Fantastic. Thank you. So next topic I would like to ask Kirti, because recently we know that you've been taking parts in this Google Circular Economy Accelerator program, and then could you just share your experience with us, and then what are your takeaways?
I think firstly, I'm so deeply thankful to the company for even creating this accelerator and giving us access to the workings of Google, to people inside Google, to executives at Google, and to mentors across the world. So the program was only 11 companies out of 300 applications were a part of the accelerator. And I love that they chose a small group of only 11 companies. And the accelerator was designed for each company. It wasn't like a generic curriculum for everyone, you know. They were constantly talking to us and tailoring the program for us, like individually. And we were just in Singapore because they had hired an acting coach to teach us how to pitch our story and how to actually communicate what we do. And it was such a great 2 days of exercise with Ginny, who took the class. And I would recommend her class to everyone and anyone. She was amazing. Um, so I think sitting here in Mumbai, I was able to talk to almost 14 subject matter experts in fashion, in technology, and in circular economy across the world. And most of them ended up being from the US. So, we were able to really understand what's happening across the world, just sitting right here in Mumbai.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I remember we have there's a Taiwanese team as well in this program. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
are also a circular economy company startups in Taiwan. Yeah, and so apart from all these amazing like mentors or like colleagues or partners, um, do you think that this kind of accelerator will help all the startups to think more thoroughly from top to toe, and then the holistic like decision making and plans for their companies? And what do you learn, and then you considered you want to like adapt all these ideas for Relove? Are you going to have any new ideas about that?
Sure. So I think number one, let's look at Google's own approach, right? I mean,
Mm,
they decided to have an accelerator just for circular economy, right? Like, sure enough, they've had one for tech, for women, for many others. But imagine a company is now thinking in terms of sustainability. And then we were looking at what are the different things that they are doing for sustainability. And within their technology, on Google search, when you look for a car, they are trying to actually show you sustainable cars first with a little green leaf. So they have the power to push sustainable products, right? In Google search now in the US, they're also highlighting pre-loved listings. So that just blew my mind. I was like, a company that large is now looking at circularity, sustainability, using their technology and using their access to the world, right? And I really found that sustainability was deeply embedded into what they were going to do now. I think that they are so successful, so large, and have the power and the money to do this.
yeah, and I believe that they will help like your companies or the circular fashion, or no matter the circular economy companies a lot in India as well. Yeah, that's fantastic. So my next question is that, well, both for both of you, of course, as a woman entrepreneur, what's the challenges you have especially in India. You are both in India, so we would love to know what kind of challenges that you will have in as a woman entrepreneur.
I would say that I have the same challenges as a man.
Right.
Because everyone has to perform in India, right? Like you have to really, really work hard and succeed. And I think being a woman um, it doesn't reduce your challenges because it's a great time to be a woman, or drastically increase your chances of being successful, or um, drastically increase your challenges as a privileged woman, right? Because I'm not in rural India. I mean, I just gave birth, but I'm still running a company because I have a lot of support. And I feel like my personal life is not different from a man's life. So, on a personal note, I do not see signs of a hard time because I'm a woman. But in general, many women do face that. Uh, Many women find it very difficult to bring their voice out. Many women find it difficult to cope with home and work. Uh, but thankfully, I'm in a situation where I have a very supportive family and a husband who's my co-founder. So I'm in a good, lucky position and don't have a very drastic story for you for that answer.
Okay. How about you, Shivajini?
I think it's similar in a way that I think Kirti and I come from a slight position of privilege. So we're not representative of what women in India actually go through, because I think the percentage of women who don't have any issues while running their own business in India is very, very small. In real life, it's quite different. But to just talk about our own journey, like my co-founder Rekha and I, what we kind of experienced, especially dealing with vendors, because they're primarily men. The factories and all of it. Uh, Getting like now it's fine. Now it's a slightly like we've been with them for years, but for the first 2 years, it was always very difficult uh, to make demands as simple as why has this not arrived on time? Because India is a slightly patriarchal country. Not slightly, it is a patriarchal country. So for women to demand things, I think, and most of these companies are in small town India, like Tirupur and places like that. They find it difficult when women are questioning and women are, throwing orders around, even with our production team. So you will see that in India, the government production team usually, I'm not talking about mass manufacturing. I'm talking about sample rooms and high-end manufacturing. It's usually male tailors and male pattern makers and all, and even them get used to taking orders from women. And the younger you are, the more difficult it is for them to take orders from you. So I think that's a slight bump that almost all women entrepreneurs for the first 2.5 years have to go through. But once they see that you mean business, that you're here to see your vision through, that you're not going to take, their nonsense, I think it falls into place. But again, as I said, we come from a place of slight privilege. So our experience is very cocooned, and it's not the same story for everyone else in India.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But because I believe that, of course, men have their own like pressure or something, but as women, basically we have more pressure actually from the society, from the family, from the history, etc. And that's why what you two just mentioned, the support system is really important, because no matter it's from your colleague, from the family, from even your clients, customers, all these people, on the business wise or on the personal life, the support system, the very strongly tied support system is very crucial. I mean, as from my understanding, is very crucial for women entrepreneurs. And so, your partnership is also, very, amazing. So could you share with us that whether you have any like a future plan for your partnership? Would you like to share with us?
Shivagini, you want to share?
How you and I met? Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't hear anything that Kirti was saying. It blanked out for me.
Kirti, Kirti's,
She asked, what are our future plans for the partnership?
yeah.
Oh. Well, I'm hoping for Relove to become better and better in terms of, just usage. They've just launched something recently for rescued as well. So when we first started with them, it was just Relove, where customers were able to sell their garments. But now even they have something called a rescue section. So our next plan is to get onto the rescue section with them, where garments that that are customized, that have come back, or have just not gone through quality check with us, but even that quality, even then that will be very, very good. So we are in the process. In fact, yesterday I went through the first lot of garments. We're in the process of putting our first rescue list to go on to Relove. And so that's the immediate plan. And in the long term, I'm sure everything that they aim for, we are going to be with them, because we can only benefit from it. And so as a smart business person, it just makes sense.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm super excited.
Okay. Right. So now we've got a couple of questions from the audience. So so the first one is, as for peer-to-peer resale for Kirti, so how do you make sure the customer receive the product with condition and details that the seller claims? Go ahead.
So we have 2-3 checks and balances. Number one is that the seller will not get paid unless the buyer says that everything is as described by the seller. So a seller is incentivized to actually send something in good condition. Otherwise, they won't get paid. But we do have 2 other checks. One is when they upload the images, and second is when we do video verification at the time of shipping.
I see. Okay. And then so the next question is, right. So it's from, okay, so they say that, thank you for sharing what Relove is doing. Is really a good platform. Is Relove also workable for people who are out of India to join?
Depends on the country, because we have to partner with local logistics of your country. So we are definitely hopeful of expanding internationally, but do write to me at kirti@relove.in, and I'd be very happy to evaluate if we can launch in your country.
Yeah, actually, that's from Taiwan. So,
Oh.
yeah.
Yep, for sure. All of you should check out relove.in. Please write to me if you're interested in doing Relove. And if you're interested in buying some amazing dresses, check out the summerhouse.in. Some stunning dresses. You have to check it out. You're going to love it. And you ship to Taiwan?
Do you? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I would love it.
I think most of the brands, at least 50% of the brands that Relove is available on in India, they ship internationally. So I think to start with, they can just experience Relove by shopping from one of the Relove existing brands.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I do have but I'm curious though. Okay, let's say I buy from the brands on from India, and then to ship to Taiwan, and then if I want to resell, then how does it
No.
work? Do I have to send back to India, or
Yeah, we're not doing the resale internationally yet. We will, if we launch in Taiwan, then we'd have to do local resale. Or if you're coming to India, you can bring it.
I see.
No, but you can shop from the summer house, and because they ship internationally, firsthand you can buy. But resale across borders is too expensive.
So maybe, perhaps, just a thought, perhaps we can just resell to the communities that we are based, right? So this could be another idea for Relove, maybe.
Down the line, when the volumes increase, I want to limit it to buildings, right? You should be able to only shop resale within your building.
Exactly. Yeah, that's also to mitigate the carbon footprint as well, right? Yeah. Okay. So we have another question: is the what challenges you expected to face with overseas expansion, and do you have any solution for that?
Well, I think as a technology product, it's not very difficult, but really understanding customers in that country and communicating with them in a way that they will understand what resale is, especially fashion brands. I think access to network. I know so many people in fashion in India, but I don't know anybody in Taiwan except you. Yeah. So, warm introductions to fashion brands is definitely a challenge. From another country, if you're writing cold emails, it's very, very challenging.
Yeah. And what's your take on Shivajini?
But I don't have a tech product, so I honestly cannot respond to that.
I think maybe talk about the selling
Yeah,
dresses
talk
in
about
Taiwan.
your brand is yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't talk about the tech part, but for us, we ship across the world. We ship to over 40 countries, Taiwan included. And I think one of the biggest challenges customers face is return. Although our return rate is very small, we have a less than 5% return rate, which I think is decent for a brand. It's very rare. The rare chance that someone does want to return it, it becomes unfeasible for the customer, and obviously unfeasible for the brand as well. So that is a challenge in expansion for sure. If unless you arrange for local warehousing facilities and all, which then you have other challenges like inventory planning, inventory pile up, things like that. And what Kirti said is key, irrespective of whatever kind of business, understanding the local customer. Our understanding is of the Indian customer, at max the American customer, because they are the second largest shopper for us. But for each country, the psychographics of each customers, of each community, each country is so different, and to understand what they hold more value for in their closets is key to launching in any other country.
Yeah. Yes. Amazing. Yeah. Actually, with like some digital fashion tools, or like something like virtual try on, all these technologies that would definitely help for mitigate the problem of returns, or like the inventory as well. So how we implement technology into the business is really important. And then I believe that today two of you have just show us how it works, and then it's really amazing. So thank you so much for both of you for your time. And then I do enjoy having conversation with both of you. And then I hope that let's just work harder to make the world better then. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
Yeah, thanks. So thanks for watching, and then we see you next time. Bye
See you.
bye.
much. Bye.